see you.
Hi.
Great to see you.
Great to see you.
All right, all right. Everyone get comfy. Everyone get comfy. You got your mic?
Got my mic.
All right. So we are going to have a conversation that I've definitely been looking forward to. So AI seems to be everywhere.
You don't say.
Like there is not an industry that is not
Not one.
saying AI this and AI that. So get us beyond the hype. Like talk to us about AI and its practical uses for business owners and in the business community.
You want to start? Or you want me to go?
Sure, I'll start. I wanted to make sure this mic is on. All right, so you're right. AI is everywhere. How you want to think about it from a small business owner perspective is this is your new best friend who has access
Your new best
to
friend, okay.
knowledge, data, metrics, anything you need at your fingertips. So it is your new best friend, and it really can open up the world of knowledge. And access to knowledge usually was preserved for, I would say, people in various organizations or people with a certain level of education. Now that knowledge is at your fingertips. And so your new best friend can actually speak in a language that you prefer. So you can ask the AI questions back and forth, ask for a clarification. If you don't like the tone of your AI new best friend, you can ask it to change it. So again, this is access to knowledge in a way that you can understand. And I really look at it as your new best friend.
Awesome.
I was well said. So I always tell everybody that one thing you could do, because Katia did that phenomenally, is go to YouTube, pull up a skit of Iron Man with Tony Stark, played by Robert Downey Jr., and watch how they interact. Because how they interact is exactly what you just mentioned, right? Just constantly, it's like your best friend, your trusted advisor. I like to say it's NJ, non-judgmental, right? And so it's a safe zone. And I think what we see a lot of, at least I see a lot of, is that people don't push the boundaries of use. So when you think about that, there's a term called single shot prompting, which means if you're interacting, and again, watch Tony Stark, you just say, hey, help me with this. That's a single shot, right? And what I see is that people don't push the boundaries like we would if Emil and I are talking, and we push, and he pushes me. He says, what about this? What about this? Have you thought of that? For some reason, because it's not a human being, we haven't crossed that chasm yet where we eliminate that and say, you know what? I'm gonna push my thought, my creative thought. But I'll tell you, the ones that have done that, the ones that we've seen, the productivity usage is insane. Like nothing you can imagine.
Got it. So, keeping this in mind, if you're that small business owner, that business professional who's in the audience who is just trying to wrap their brain around, where do you start? Like, what is that immediate next step if you're wanting to incorporate AI into your business, incorporate AI into how you go about doing your business? Where do you start?
So I think the first thing is, I'll go, Katia, and then you add in. But the first thing is, before we start, the human brain, we don't do well in unstructured environments. So when there's a lot of pieces of information coming at us, and so what we do is we create frameworks, we create processes. And so the first thing that I always tell everybody, forget about that AI is not tech, by the way, remember that. But get away from the fact it's AI and start with a simple ranking exercise. So when you think of all your departments, doesn't matter if you're a massive company, doesn't matter if you're like experienced size-wise, doesn't matter if you're a solo entrepreneur. You still have operations, you still have sales, you still have all these departments. So I always say start with writing down those core places. And then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna rank them. You're not gonna just choose which area, you're gonna rank them with high value and then low entry point. So you're gonna say, well, lead gen sales is number one. Maybe at the end it's customer engagement and the way I wanna interact, it might be number 7. There might be 7 different departments. But you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you rank them very simply, and that's where you actually start. Don't even start with the AI. Then you're like, okay, here's where I need to improve myself. Here's where I need to improve my business. Well, it looks like it actually turns out to be operations. So now you have a roadmap to say, I'm just going to focus on operations, and now I'm going to apply artificial intelligence towards improving that productivity side of things.
Okay.
Yeah, I would definitely add to the framework that it really depends what stage of the small business you're in. So, for instance, if you're at the stage where you have an idea for a small business, AI, again, going back to that best friend connotation, is that consultant. You can go back and forth, ask for market sizing. If you are at the stage where you have a product or a service that's already launched and you're ready to scale, that's where you begin to utilize that framework. Maybe it's marketing, maybe it's operations that you need support with. Again, utilizing your new best friend, you can ask those questions. If you are the part where you're looking for investors, growth, again, you can actually utilize AI to recommend which banks to connect with. And hopefully this AI new best friend also talks about business credit. You know, I had to plug it in.
Love it.
Right?
Love it.
Nice plug.
Thanks.
Love it. So, what are some initial tools and resources that you would recommend for someone that's looking to kind of begin that AI journey, or maybe is already on that AI journey and is looking to really take it to the next level? Like, are there some proven best in class tools and resources to really help folks get started?
So right now, ChatGPT is at the forefront. And what is happening with ChatGPT is that it's actually integrating with other tools, Canva being the most recent one. So now it can actually create, again, visuals for you. That's going to continue to accelerate. So I would say start with ChatGPT, get comfortable with it. Again, as time goes on, you can they'll integrate further, so you'll see other tools. From, I would say, ease of use marketing perspective, there's a tool called addcreative.ai. To get started, only costs $10 a month. And what it does, it scans your website and it actually creates ads on the spot within seconds. On top of that, it also gives you the copy to put into your social posts. So again, something that a creative agency would have done before for thousands of dollars now only takes probably 10 seconds and $10 to start with. And the last tool that I'll call out, but it's, again, probably in line with ChatGPT, is Claude. Again, you want to make sure that once you get comfortable with one chat engine, you don't get stuck. You try other chats because they may have different algorithms and a way of answering questions, and you can probably get a more holistic view of the answers.
Curious, show of hands, who's using any AI tools currently? Wow.
Okay.
Maybe I should have asked who's not. Awesome.
So, and I like what you said, right? So I think the first thing that I'd like to get across to everybody is ChatGPT is definitely, like, because it came out first in terms of like the public awareness language models and it got traction, right? But I always like to remind everybody, and I use a really weird analogy, I always say, is it Kleenex or tissue? And half the time we'll say, pass me a Kleenex or give me but really it's tissue. We have to remember, if you ask 100 people, if we ask everybody in the audience, they'll say, I started out with ChatGPT, but as Katia said, there's other ones out there. So there are three main ones, and I think everybody should be versed in all of them. Claude, for sure, Claude AI, okay, which is owned by Anthropic, which is invested by Amazon. Microsoft's ChatGPT, for sure, and then Gemini with Google. We don't want to forget about that, and they're all fighting, right? So those are your core ones, and you should play with them because each one has unique strengths. But then underlying that, there's some subs that are very standardized that you also want to use. The second one that I would say you want to consider using, they just made an upgrade to it. After that would be probably if you use those, and then cutting it out. Let's try that one. Is that better? Whoa, that's way.
That was the AI
better.
that just started cutting
Thanks,
you out.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You always got my back, right? So anyways, but hopefully you guys all heard those, but I'll just repeat them real quickly. So, okay, so number one, ChatGPT, for sure Claude AI, which is Amazon, which is Anthropic, and then Gemini. That's your core top, we call them LLMs, or large language models. And think of them each as the world's largest library, basically, of information. That's one way to look at it. And so they're very structured, but we all use them the same way. Then underneath that, I always say, go after some more core graphic-wise ones as a base for a small business owner. There's a lot of other ones, but I would stick to these three, and that would be Adobe Firefly. I would go to Canada for sure, Magic Writer, and then I would use Runway still. And there's a bunch of others after, but you don't want to get caught up in what tools. Because what happens, what I've seen is everybody's starting what tool, and we do what we call, you get stuck in quicksand. Instead of worrying about, like, just do something, right? Just make something better. Just be more productive. We get caught up in, well, is this tool better than that one? They're all so good. It's like asking somebody in the NFL, is that quarterback really better? Are you really worried about that? They're all the top 30 players in the world. Same thing here. So that's what I would recommend.
Okay, excellent, got it. So if we think about, we've got tools, we've got resources. Are there some creative examples that either you've used or that you're aware of that business owners using AI in their business? Like, what are some creative ways that you have seen or even for yourselves in your own business?
So I'll just share one we do. I'll give one example and you guys. So first off, I'm a big believer in something I call apps, or artificial intelligence platform stacking. Okay, that means you're going to use multiple tools. So one that we've done that's been really cool, because as we all know, content is king when it comes to marketing. And so as a small business owner, I'm challenged, right? I'm supposed to post this many times. I'm supposed to do this, but we don't have a full marketing department, and an agency could be expensive. So what we've done is we've said, okay, there's a product called Notebook LM, if anybody's heard of it, and it's owned by Google, and you can take documents, upload it, and get a podcast. Now, out of that podcast, what you do is you can create an FAQ or an info guide that is PDF, and now we would be available for what we call gated content. If anybody doesn't know what that means, it's when you go to an internet, go to a website, you want to download something, you have to put in your email because you want it. So, but the challenge with small business owners is creating the content. So this can be done in about 47 seconds. But you don't stop there. You now take that podcast, and what we've done is we've created a text script out of it, because you can't do that in Notebook LM. And you take that and you say, okay, well, wait a second. What do people like to ingest more than anything? Is it audio? Is it written? Or is it really video? Everybody wants video, but it wasn't realistic. So now you take that transcript, you put it into ChatGPT, and you create a video script. You take that from there, you put it into a program called NVideo, and within 37 minutes, you have a podcast, you have gated content, and you have a video you can use. That would have cost probably 5 years ago, to create a video, a podcast, and do all those things on your website? 10 grand? 15 grand? There's an example of a creative way that we took things together, smashed them, created multiple points of content in a very short period of time.
Got it.
Yeah, and building off of those examples, you definitely can use AI to help you put together a business plan. I mean, even if you have a few sentences as an idea, again, a simple tool like ChatGPT can pretty much draw out a full business plan. And you can go back and forth. You can ask for competitors. On top of that, you can layer in and challenge the AI and say, I have this much funding. This is where I'm at. Tell me my next steps given the business plan you just wrote. So again, you can challenge AI in real time while providing information that's personalized to you. So that's one example. Another example is a lot of websites right now are, for small business owners, are built either through Squarespace or Wix. Again, platforms like this will integrate AI. So with Squarespace, they recently released an AI capability that does SEO for you. What that means is they go through your website and they tell you where you need to adjust copy so that you actually rank in Google against some of the bigger competitors. SEO is extremely expensive. And again, when we talk about cost, when we talk about entry, this is giving small business owners our leg up on the competition. Again, this leg up is not going to last forever. The market is going to get filtered. But for everybody sitting here, you are ahead of the game. So just leverage the tools. Again, think about it as that best friend that knows everything.
Excellent, excellent. I would like to stay with you here because you and I have had this conversation about the importance of having a solid digital foundation before launching into, leveraging AI tools. Let's maybe talk about that. Like, what does that mean to have a solid digital foundation so that you're positioned to then make use of these AI tools?
Definitely. So you want to start out with a website. Again, to put up a website nowadays can take less than an hour. You can start with reserving a domain name that's unique to you through GoDaddy.com, and then use either Squarespace or Wix to set up the initial website. So that's, again, your foundation. Obviously, you need a product or a service. So as I'm saying this, I assume you already have that. On top of that, the other part of the foundation is setting up your socials. So again, you don't have to be on every social network, but at least creating a social profile on Facebook and Instagram is essential. I think I gave a stat last time where pretty much over 70% of small business owners in the US have a social profile. It's probably higher than that at this point. So those are your two foundational elements, because any AI engine, you want to feed that information into it so that it can tell you what to do next. It can build those recommendations. In addition, with Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, they do have a verification ticker. So you have to provide your DBA, you have to provide your LLC documents. But in a consumer's mind, when they see a ton of options, they know you are a real business, that you went through the verification process. So again, it's the website, it's the social, which would be the initial foundation.
Got it. One thing I'd love to hear from both of you. So obviously, when we talk about AI, and both of you have shared the productivity benefits of it, right? And it being your new best friend. One thing that often concerns folks is, well, if I can make use of AI, then do I still need staff to do these things, right? So can we talk about that dynamic around displacement of workforce as these technological innovations become more advanced? As AI advances, what does that impact to workforce? What does that impact to teams?
Yeah, so I'll start. So whether you're in the corporate world or the small business owner world, people are going to be impacted. Again, you want to make sure your workforce is utilizing the tools and give them time to upskill. So really, AI can amplify your workforce if you have the right people in place. But yeah, I'm not going to lie. There will be displacement and job displacement. There will be people who use AI and who don't. And the ones that don't, unfortunately, will be left behind, because the speed of information, the speed of knowledge is just going to continue to increase. The other thing that's coming out is agentic AI. So you want to think about it as agents. So for instance, you can train your own agent to go do the work of one of your employees. That's coming. So again, will there be displacement? Yes, but I would encourage everybody to allow the employees that you have to upskill. Again, give people that chance. I've done it in my own personal and professional life, on the small business and also on the corporate side. You have to think ahead and give people a chance, and they'll jump in. Again, if you build that space and position it as amplifying their work, they'll jump in. And everybody is aware what's happening in the news. So I think people are more encouraged now than ever before to get ahead of the technological shift that we're going through.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was well said. So I think from my perspective, so I started in a consulting company, I remember in AI in 2015. So it was almost a decade ago. And you know, I could share with you that being on a panel like this and everybody saying how many people are using AI, there would be no hands, obviously, right? And even a year ago, it was different. And even 2 years ago, it was different. I think when we talk about it, there's 3 layers of job concerns that people have. So the first one is what Katia mentioned, which is if you don't become a hybrid, a combination of a hybrid, meaning you're using AI like a trusted agent or a family friend in your job and you don't get used to that, then you've got about 24 months left if you're lucky, and you will be moved out. That's probably the time frame, and I'm seeing that firsthand, right? So we already got that. So the first thing is become adapting to and getting used to using it and being versed and being involved in. Okay, so that's level number 1. Level number 2 may not affect the small solo entrepreneur, but it's going to affect the mid-size and up companies like even a Genesis. And I'll give you an example, right? Now we're talking about complete displacement, which is level 2 means that job is no longer needed anymore. So if we use an example, Genesis Bank, we're just going to pick on Emil here for a second.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So Genesis Bank probably has, I don't know how many people in the call center still, right? Let's be very realistic. In 24 months, if they are around, it's because Genesis Bank says, let's keep you here. But the reality is the productivity won't be there. They will be replaced by agents. No doubt. And we're talking, remember, we don't play for today, you guys. We're playing for 24 to 36 to 48 months from now. $1 trillion is invested into AI. So you can imagine, if you think it's good today, it's perfect in 24 months. And that's scary. But what we're going to miss, we're never going to have, is we're going to have some replacement of the empathy side. That'll take longer to build. So what the replacement maybe is, okay, we will move some people out of customer service, but we're going to keep 10%, we'll call them empathy engineers. And we're going to brand them out, and they're going to be the ones that step in and say, you know what, let's do this, let's do this, let's do that. We talk about coders. Yes, coding in 2 years. Software development as it stands will be completely changed. If you don't believe me, go to Claude AI, ask it to build something like a website, watch it write the code on the right-hand side, okay? It takes a minute, a line of code. 10,000 lines of code, you can imagine how long it takes. What if it's 10 lines a second? How do you fight that? But what's going to become the #1 job requirement, probably the #1 new job in technology in 24 to 36 months, will be the quality control, trust and verify engineer validating the AI. We will not lose that. But look at the displacement. So we have to move over. So that's level number 2. Okay, so level number 2, hybrid up here, everybody comes using it or they're gone, as Katia mentioned, and they will be. Number 2 is we lose this profession, but we gain this one, right? And then level number 3 is how do we manage that if all of a sudden I've given Emil back with his AI, what his job required was 40 hours a week, he now spends 5 hours a week, right? He's now got 35 hours, and I think what's going to happen is in level number 3, we're going to see every business maybe become an accelerator at the same time and incubate their employees and say, you know what, Emil, with the other 25 hours, either be more productive or do side hustles, but we want to be involved in the side hustles. We're going to support you with your new business ventures to make money because we know you're doing side hustles anyways. So might as well embrace it instead of fight it. And I think that's going to happen in about 3 years. It's a prediction, but anyways, that's the 3 levels that I recommend or see.
Wow. Well, I think that is that's a perfect way to end this. That's a lot to look forward to.
It's a lot to unpack, right?
Hey,
Well,
I like the 40 hours going down to 5.
I figured you would.
We can
that
work.
was
We
for
can
you.
work. We can. Let's work on that.
Yeah, you want that right now, right?
I could use that. There's not enough hours in the day for me.
You're in. Everybody heard it.
All right. Well, thank you both for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Let's give a round of applause to Katia Gaidouk
Thank
and
you.
Roger Lloyd.